where we've always been. We get a clearer view of the actual machinery of our souls, if you like. But what we thought our souls were for, what they were good for loving and for deciding, for making and breaking promises for reasons good and bad, that goes on. And we're just a little bit less disillusioned, I should say, about the nature of that process. But our moral quandaries are what they were before. Our moral aspirations are what they were before. Our capacity to love or to hate are intact. When I speak about Darwinism as universal acid, it passes through, it changes everything, and it leaves everything the same too.
Finally, and this issue cropped up in many of my conversations, I wanted to know how difficult Daniel found it to publicize his disbelief in modern America. But I started by asking him whether there had ever been a time when he himself had religious beliefs. Now, here you are, from everything you've said and from everything you've written, I suspect that you and I would in fact be called by other people atheists. Was there a point at which you became one? Had you always been one? Or is there in fact a history of the development of disbelief on your part?
I was raised in one of those bland New England suburban Protestant faiths, the congregational faith, which has hardly any creed at all, but lots of good hymns and ceremonies. And I went to Sunday school and learned the books of the Bible in order: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, etc. So I got a good deal of biblical lore, but not a stern religious upbringing by any stretch of the imagination. And I was always interested in it, intellectually, philosophically. I was, a little budding philosopher. I suppose I was a teenager before I began to realize that my interest in this was I feel like academic. I didn't believe it at all. And I didn't seriously think about whether I'd ever believed it, or whether it had been just part of a tradition that it was, go along with it because it's a bit offensive to challenge something like this. I mean, if you see a terribly obese person, you don't walk up and say, "My God, you're obese." We don't do things like that. It's just impolite. And if people around you are being devout, it's worse than rude to challenge them. And so I don't think I ever really I never had a conversion experience. I just gradually realized that I didn't believe any of this. I don't think I encountered many people in my youth who really believed in God. I think most people who say they believe in God, most people in the West who say they believe in God actually believe in belief in God. I don't even believe in belief in God. That is, they believe that belief in God is a really good thing. It is something to strive for, something to be maybe proud of if you succeed. Certainly you should try to believe in God, and you certainly shouldn't make it hard for others to believe in God. And the behavior of somebody who believes in belief in God is just the behavior we observe. You go to church, you sing hymns, you give money to the church, and so forth. If you actually believed in God, you do all sorts of lunatic things, and we don't see very many people doing those things. They don't put their lives on the line for God, typically. And I thought it was a little bit like belief in Santa Claus. It's something that we do. We talk about it. We sort of pretend to believe in God, and maybe the immature ones actually believe in God, and then some people grow out of it.
Why is it that we have such compunctions about people's faith and devoutness, whereas we're perfectly willing to be rude and argumentative and difficult with people's political beliefs? What is it about the belief in the sacred which is sacred?
I don't know, and I've been wondering that a good deal, because there are times when I think it would be much better if we were a lot franker and ruder about religious belief. If we look around the world today, I would say that by far more danger, more harm comes from religious belief on every side than help. Yes, religions, at their best, provide succor and meaning and comfort to people who are really hard-pressed. And I think that's what we don't want to deny to people.
Yes, I mean, I don't. But nevertheless, I'm often
Yes.
rebuked for being bloody rude about people's religious beliefs. I have very few compunctions about getting into arguments, often in public places, about religion. And I will then go away and my wife says, you really mustn't talk like that to things that people hold sacred.
Yeah.
And yet, she would be much less embarrassed if I was to have a stand-up row about Soviet communism and about the atrocities committed by Stalin.
I, myself, do not think that truth is sufficient justification for saying something. And I think we all know that. We don't tell fat people they're fat. We don't tell ugly people they're ugly. We don't, there's lots of things every day we could go around saying things to people's faces that would be perfectly true, and we could prove them, and it would just be really mischievous. It would just, there's things about me that I'm glad I don't know, and I hope other people don't know. I certainly wouldn't want people going around spreading this around and things about you. There's lots of facts that we're just as well off not knowing. That being so, any area of inquiry, especially something like philosophy, which gets so close to things that matter so much to people, I think we have to think seriously about what the, if you like, the environmental impact of putting a view out there is. It's possible that some real mischief, some real harm might come from presenting a position which is in itself perfectly true. But let's look at the boundaries of this. If somebody's a member of a cult, as we say, we have no trouble being rude with them, with laughing at the Raelians or those people that got interested in the comet, various doomsday prophesiers when the prophecies don't come true. We laugh at those people, and the world laughs with us at them. So we have a line where we consider some religious belief to be just too kooky to take seriously, and we are rude with impunity in talking about those.
But is it because they're minority opinions?
I think so. I think that's all it is. But I think this is just political. If Christianity were a small sect in the world, I think it wouldn't receive the respect. But look at all those churches that the Christians have built. Look at all the great arts. Look at all the great music. It's hard to be rude to a religion which has created so much great culture. I've had this friendly disagreement with Richard Dawkins over just this issue. And I say, Richard, I, of course, completely agree with you, but I don't think you want to hurt people's feelings. Why do you want to hurt people's, why do you want, and for a long time I thought, he didn't have a good reply to that. And more recently I've been thinking, man, maybe I should hurt a few more people's feelings. Maybe we should turn the tide a bit on this. Maybe we should get out in front of this. Yeah. And yes, we'll take some awful lumps because we'll be the rude, evil ones. But let's see if we can just move the barrier a little bit. But maybe we should get out there with Richard and be more aggressive, just to open up the space behind us. I mean, I think this is true not just in this area. I think in religion, I think what America really needs right now is some outspoken, bold, serious liberals. Yes, they can't be elected, but let them get out there and make a big noise so that to move the center, to move the effective center.
And particularly in the United States, where in fact it is very closely tied up with Christian belief.
Certainly is.
I mean, it's true that our own Prime Minister is a very pious Christian, but I don't think one can detect, as one can in Bush and one can in the right wing of the Republican Party here, a constitutive relationship between right-wing politics and born-again Christianity.
Oh yes, they have the strange overconfidence of the religious zealot. They're sure that the world is what their religion says it is. There's the good guys and the bad guys, and we're the good guys. And we will smite the bad guys.
Now, granted your increasing sense of the importance of being explicit and outright and forthright about this, here you are, you've written some important, influential books on various aspects of philosophy and various aspects of science in which philosophy has interests. It's hard to imagine an area in which philosophy would have more interests than religion. What would you feel about writing a book which did, in fact, smite religion with the same energy that religion itself would like to smite people like us?
Oh, I'd love to write that book, if I could. But of course, what one fears is what comes afterwards. And just how much disarray, how right are the people who think that we need religion to preserve whatever veneer of civilization and good feeling we have? I think religion, for many people, is sort of, moral Viagra. They think some people need help being moral, and don't deny it to them. Well, if that's true, if religion does help people lead moral lives, then one should take very seriously the proposition that we're just going to eliminate it and let the devil take the hindmost. Because the hindmost may be a great many people, and we might have the chaos that these people fear. A lot of people, many people, they want their life to have a meaning. And where is it going to come from?
Yes, but there must be something better than religion. But
yes, we certainly hope there is. What's it going to be?
That's it.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, sorry.